Hi, everybody. It's Monday. We're here with Behind the Scenes. And, it's a sunny day in Cleveland. Kamaya, what's the weather where you are? Oh, you're on
Iris,
mute.
muted. Atlanta is sunny, a little cool, but we'll take it. Much better than the weekend.
Yeah, I feel like people just are happier when the sun is out. I mean, it was sunny and freezing, and people were still happier. So, are we live? I think we're live. Oh, there we go. People are coming in. Okay, Eka, her connection just went out. Someone text Eka and tell her she's gone. Hi, everybody. So today we are going to talk about parent hacks. And there, she's back. Hello, Eka. So we're going to talk about parent hacks, and my version of a parent hack that I want to bring up is a little different than the ones we always shared in the print magazine, because I have a kid who keeps telling me that she's afraid to make phone calls, which I think is not so uncommon. And I was trying to give her tips on like what I do, because days can go by where I have a list of phone calls to make and I never get to them. And, I was trying to think like, what is the obstacle? Like, really make a phone call to make an appointment and I can't seem to get it off my to-do list. And so I learned this a long time ago about myself, that if the night before, when somehow the world has not created any like immediate needs or any anxiety about finishing what has to get done that day, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is the night before, if I jot down who I have to call and why with the phone number, it has to be with the phone number. When I wake up the next day, it doesn't require any thought. Like, it's just something that I just jump on. So I thought, well, this is kind of a life hack that I could share with my kid who has a lot of me in her. And so it really worked for her. Like I said, do it when there's no judgment, when you're not like, but I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to get weighed. I don't want this. I don't want that. Do it when there's no judgment, because you're not going to do it at that moment. And then when you have the list made, there's also no thinking, because it's just a 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're done. And it's worked for her. So that one I'm kind of proud of, for me and for her. I am going to pass it to Kamira.
Hello. So I overthought this one. And then, of course, I was like, you're overthinking, Kamira, because that's what I do. And I came up with one of I don't know if this is a parenting hack. I'm really organized and I like things to be organized. And I have my kids manage me by telling them you're getting too disorganized and need help. And one of the ways I found help is if I put everything in see-through containers. So our house is filled with any combination of containers where you can see the contents. If they can see the contents, they know what belongs there, and also they can find what they're looking for without asking me. So then it's easier for them to organize. We have any combination of metal weave, shelving, and containers or glass or plastic or open weave, whatever is appropriate for the decor in the room. And I put decor in quotes because our house is not going to be in any magazines anytime soon. But once I started doing that and got rid of all the really pretty stuff that you could not see in, I found that everybody in the house was a little more organized. I am going to send it to Emily.
Good morning. I love that, Kamira, and that's such a great idea. Mine is a little similar, but with a different angle, which is transparency about what's going on during the week. And so, like, one of the things that maybe my daughter uses a planner, but I'm not sure that even she does right now with online school. But the boys just won't do it. The schools give them out. It doesn't matter. They're not using that planner. And so I got a giant stick-on, a magnetic calendar for the refrigerator that has the outline of the week. And also usually Sunday night dinner, we will have a little kind of like what's happening this week. And just for things like dental appointments and those kinds of things, that they all function better if they have a little bit of warning about, and they can kind of get their expectations set in that way. But I think, like, it took me a while, because I love to keep a calendar. And I think it took me a while to realize that if I knew something, just because I knew something was on the calendar didn't mean that they automatically knew it. Because when they're younger, it doesn't matter. They just go along and do what you tell them to do. And here, oh, today we're doing this, today we're doing that. So I think giving them the heads up and like the time to set their expectations has been useful. And occasionally they actually just go and look at what's on the refrigerator. And it also takes the blame game out of it. If it's, after school and there's something we have to transition to and they're really fussy because they forgot about it, but it's like, it's on the calendar, it's been there since Sunday, then it just kind of, there's really nothing they can say to that. So my other hack, I love the one that was in the print magazine about front seat of the car for chatting after an activity or school, and back seat if you just need a little time to stick your headphones in. I think that was brilliant. And also, I just read whatever Sharon's written in the Washington Post or the New York Times, because she's a bit of a guru on the parenting hacks. So those are my faves. I'll go to Eka.
Good morning. So I was thinking about this too, like Kamira, I probably overthought it, but then I came up with one that I actually used quite a bit when my girls, as they were growing up, maybe we were going to butt heads on, and sit down and think about, like for instance, curfew. I knew I was going to butt heads, so we sat down as a family and came up with expectations, and then had the girls decide consequences for it too. So for some of those hot topics that were going to come up, we had discussed them already. I'm sure, there were times where something came up and I was like, whoa, didn't come up with this one. But we had, the driving expectations. And so then when these expectations weren't met, they already knew the consequences, and we didn't have to, it wasn't like we're going to sit down there, we're like, all right, now what? They knew. And so if we did have that conversation, I was like, you were late for curfew, you tell me what we agreed on. So that kind of helped a lot, because then they had a say in it. So we tried that. The two biggest ones probably was driving expectations and curfew. But we did use it, and I thought that was really helpful, because then they had some say in it, and we didn't always have to be the bad guys, because we'd come up with everything together. So that's what was my parenting hack. I'm going to send it over to my left, I guess, or you're right, to Jen.
Thanks, Eka. I'm getting so many good ideas from this. I'm taking notes. So this is a sad story, but like 5 minutes before this call, I texted one of my kids and I said, help, have I ever given you any good mom hacks? And I'm going live on this in 5 minutes. And she very snappily responded, how to work under a deadline with the winky emoji. So yeah, zing. Yeah, I guess we pass along some of our good and not so good traits to our children. But she did remind me too that I gave her a good piece of advice once, which is the fake it till you make it. Like if you're feeling uncertain about something or a little less than confident, if you project more confidence than you feel, eventually you come to actually have that confidence. So that was one item. But then I texted my sister, because she is really the one who excels in the mom hack department. And she reminded me of a good one that she shared with her kids, which is if you're reading something boring, stand up while you're reading it so you don't fall asleep. And I thought that was pretty brilliant. So there you go, courtesy of Kathy Gray, who's got much better mom hacks than mine, apparently. I am going to send it to Jody.
Relief. Thank God you picked me before we got to Sharon, who's the queen of the hacks. Anyway, I already might have mentioned that I don't know that I have many hacks, but Kamira, I would like to live with you. But I did, actually, when my kids were little, I saw this thing about a special things box, and ours is also transparent and plastic, and they would like get to keep everything. And then at the end of the year, I would say, okay, you can pick 10 things to put in your special things box. And we kind of went through that year after year. And the idea is that, you know, when they leave the house, they will have their one special things box that they take out. And it actually has sort of worked. I mean, I haven't been in their rooms in a while since they're older, but it really was kind of a great, I don't want to say like decluttering, but it was fun because also they could kind of go through the year and all these things that they had to save. Then they realized, oh, I don't need that or whatever. So, and I think that's sort of stuck with them, this idea of kind of, purging or culling or whatever, going through things, which is still not better than my philosophy of when I get my mail, I either do something with it or throw it out. So I think that's another one that we try so that we don't have stuff around. And I guess then the only other hack that I've ever had is that, I have kept my kids in books, even still now. And so I was the one who would go to the library and I would get books and I would put them right next to their beds. And, they read them and, they still do. And it's just kind of funny because I still get them books and they really could get their own. Actually, my oldest son now finally has an e-reader and he kind of does his own thing. But for my other ones, I'm still kind of passing books. Well, another one too, she'll read. And she actually got me a book more recently. So, but I do think that really kind of did make them more readers than they would have been otherwise. So, all right. Okay, I'll go to Jessica.
Oh boy. So mine isn't good. I'll just throw it out beforehand, but my father came up with a saying, is just what would Randy do, based on his best friend Randy, who, we enjoy sometimes during parenting moments he'd get mad and be like, all right, what would my buddy Randy do in this situation? So I guess my advice is steal the parenting hacks from other people. What are they going to do about it? They're going to copyright it? No. That's all I got. I'm sorry. Who hasn't gone yet? Okay, Sharon.
I think that's brilliant because I'm stealing all these ones that I've heard today. And it's funny, Jody, that you mentioned the kid projects and kid stuff, because one of my inspirations came from dealing with that giant pile of kid papers and artwork. And 2 of my 3 kids, at least, don't want to get rid of anything. So it was just a postponed project, piles of kids' paper. I don't even know which child it belonged to, all over the floor upstairs. We have a 3rd floor in our old house. So it's like a space we don't use. So for years, literally, I've been saying, I have to deal with this pile. And finally, last month, I said to myself, this weekend, I'm assigning myself to spend an hour on those papers, not to handle the whole thing, just to spend an hour. And it was shocking how much I got done. Like, I got so many thrown away that were just garbage, and I got them divided into child piles. That was big for me. So then I adapt this for my children and said, oh, maybe this would make this easier for them too. So I started saying to my kids, can you spend 5 minutes to tidy up this area before you get on the screen or whatever? And I just said this morning to one of my children, can you spend 5 minutes on your lunch break from school picking up your laundry and 5 minutes picking up your trash and your and your dishes and all that stuff? I don't know if that's going to work. I should report back after lunch. But I do think it makes it easier to just make a time limit to, because you can get so much more done than you think in a short time, which I learned from like microwaving my tea for like a minute or whatever. You can unload the whole dishwasher in like a minute. It's shocking because that's something you don't always want to do. So anyway, my whole point is that I've just learned the magic of putting a time limit on a task you don't want to do, for me and my kids. So Sue, I'll send it back to you.
Man, these were good ones. So the idea of kid stuff and what you do with it, I'm a combination of all of you. I took clear things, clear containers, and hold on. I thought my phone was off. Sorry. I took clear containers and I dumped 5 kids' stuff into the containers. So I have like 20 containers, but one day they're just going to have to go through them all and say, that's mine, I want it. But it took all the effort out of it so you could keep doing it. I mean, every time I sat down to organize a system, I was like, it's like my pictures. Like, I feel like the day I have the time to go through my pictures, it's going to be a really depressing day for me. Like, it just means there's nothing else to take me away from doing this overwhelming task that I let pile up. So I didn't have. Are you hearing an echo? Yeah. So I don't know where that echo came from. Sorry if it hurt your ears. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. If you have any parent hacks, please put them in the comments. That can happen after we get off as well. It's always fun to see them. Oh, last week someone asked for us to share the code, Jessica, for tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, we're finally doing our college, destination college. And what's our deal for the day, Jessica? You're on mute.
Sorry, is it buy one get one free? I gotta double check.
No, we have books to give away, don't we?
Oh, Sarah knows.
Sorry, I haven't gone through
Yeah.
all of my emails yet.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. If you were somebody who asked last week and you're on here and we never got you the code, just email me at editor@yourteenmag.com and I will get you the code. And if you sign up today, we have books from editor@yourteenmag.com. I clearly can't do two things at once. Oops, I even did that wrong. Jessica, maybe you could put the right one in. And we have books from Jeff Salingo and from Chicken Soup for the Soul. And if you sign up today, you get put in a raffle for them. So, and also Jess, if you could put up the link for signing up. It starts tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. And we have a big crowd and we have really extraordinary experts. And at the end of the 8 weeks, you're just going to really feel well armed to tackle the process of having your kid apply to college. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.